Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam. Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam. Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam show. Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam. Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam. Turn it up, it's the pancake and power slam show. Turn it up.
What's up, everybody? What is going on? What is going on? Let's see what I want to put on the soundtrack today, man. Let's see what I want to put on the soundtrack today. What we feeling today? What's the vibe on the room tonight? Let's find out. Let's find out what the vibe of the room is for tonight. Boom, 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 boom. Let's put some on here. Let's get the vibe going on for everybody. Room is filling up. Thank you as always. Let's do this. All right, there we go. Oh, goodness. Technology. You got to love it. You got to love technology, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. There we go. we go. Yeah. Lake inspired there. As people come up in the room. People come up in the room. People come up in the room. Room, 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 room. Sing a room, room, room. Room, 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 room. Room, room, room. Come up in the room. Said room, room, room. Yeah. Come up in the room. Room, 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 room. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Right. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is well on this blessed Tuesday, almost Wednesday. And thank you so much for continuing to love you back. Love you back. Yeah, it's all types of technology. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah, wonderful. Awesome involvement already. We'll address those questions. All right. We're going to talk about the psychology of addiction. I want to hone in on an interview from Mike Santana. Want to definitely hone in on that. We're going to talk about that. This was right before his main event match at Slammiversary. Once again, pulled a Ariel Helwani interview out because I like the length of them, and I like the length of them, and it gives me opportunity to really talk about and dissect parts. This one is going to be a longer part. With the Goldberg, I did different clips, but I'm going to talk about a specific section of this video that he's talked about his addiction and why and what led him to that, and childhood repression and abuse and things like that. I'm going to talk about repression and abuse and why people tend to get into delinquent behavior because of childhood abuse. And so we're going to talk a lot about psychology tonight, as we always do. And so we are going to have some fun as always. And so with that being said, let's get right into it. So I'm going to play a clip of the Santana interview with Ariel Helwani. It's a longer clip. I'm gonna break I'm gonna break some parts up and talk about a couple parts in short, and then when he talks about his addiction, I'm going to talk about that in detail. I'm going to talk about the psychology of addiction. Why do people engage in addictive behavior? And be sure to DM me at Chris Prolific, y'all. DM me at Chris Prolific. I'm getting videos to talk about, and they will be talked about on future episodes. But the videos I'm getting is a bit lengthy, so it's going to take me, because of my schedule, I just can't look at a lengthy video in just a couple of days. I just don't have the time to do that. It's going to take me probably 2 or 3 weeks to look through a whole video that's over 2 hours long. If it's within about 30 minutes, I can watch it doing cardio. And so I can do that. I can do that within a day or two, and I'll be able to do that. But when it comes to like 2 hours and watching all at once, I have to break that down, and it's going to take me a while. So when you send me your videos of wanting me to break you down psychologically, send me something. If you want me to do it earlier, send me something within about 10 to 30 minutes. All right. And so about 10 to 30 minutes. I was going to do, I saw the Sting video. That was one of the videos that was on the list with the Major Wrestling Podcast. But that was it was just mostly talking about his wrestling figures. There wasn't anything really to break down psychologically. It was a little less than 10 minutes, but it just wasn't really nothing to break down psychologically. And I got some other cool videos too, so I'm definitely going to spend some time doing that. It's fun. I love doing this stuff. I love breaking it down psychologically. DM me on Twitter. DM me the videos that you want me to break down at Chris Prolific, as you see right there. DM me, and then if make the clip within within this year, preferably within the last 6 months, 3 to 6 months. Really, I like to review something that's current, but within the past year is fine. Ideally, 3 to 6 months, and something that's around 10 to 30 minutes. If you want me to break it down sooner, if you really want me to break down a certain video, I've even been I've looked at some Vice videos about Dark Side of the Ring that Vice put as clips, and that was interesting too. So yeah, there's been all types of videos that has been on my list and been sent to me that I want to break down. So I'm really interested in doing that. I'm really excited about that too. So looking forward to those future videos. But DM me the videos that you want me to talk about, and I will do that. All right. So without further ado, let's pull up this Mike Santana video from the Ariel Hawani show. All right, let's see. There we go, and we'll do right there, and we'll put that up like that. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do it. All right, this is, like I said, this is going to be a little lengthier as far as talking about here. So we're going to break this down a little bit more.
I was so nervous. She would say, think of something that makes you happy, and I would think of him winning the belt. That's how much he means to me. So when I heard that you loved him as well, I knew we had a connection there. But your father passes away, and you go down a dark path. Did you have any of those demons before that, or was it because you were trying to cope with it?
So I struggled for a long time. Like, I had a very tough childhood and upbringing, and so a lot of the things that I went through as a kid, I never really dealt with, because I was taught to you go through it, keep it pushing. I wasn't
like, what kind of stuff were you dealing with?
As far as a kid, a lot of abuse.
Oh, wow.
A lot of drugs were prevalent in my home.
Okay, so that's one of the things I want to talk about. Man, there's so much good information that people need to know when it comes to how important children and how prevalent children see this stuff, and how much it transcends into adulthood. Oftentimes, what happens is we built what's called schemas. There's called schemas, mental frameworks that's built basically to give you, just kind of create a path in the future of being able to just kind of interpret things a certain way. And that's basically how oftentimes things are translated or interpreted growing up as an adult. Is what's called schemas. And so with these schemas, oftentimes what happens, there we go. Oftentimes what happens with these schemas we develop a sense of kind of preemptive thought and a way to process something based on the schema we've been built. And so, for instance, if someone was raised in an abusive childhood, home as a child, they're used to violent behavior. And actually, studies show that child neglect, and he'll talk about this in a minute. Child neglect and the relationship they have with his father. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to like abuse and things like that, that becomes a schema that's built. And so if someone sees a father abusing his wife, they're used to that type of violent behavior toward women, and they develop a schema of either objectifying women, disrespecting women oftentimes not having a positive view on women, or unfortunately being violent towards women too. And so when people see that type of stuff, they develop those type of schemas, or they can develop a schema of, I have a relationship with my mother. My father is beating my mother, and so now there's resentment toward my father, and someone can have a resentment toward male authority figures. And so there's schemas that can be built when it comes to observing this stuff as a childhood. That's the reason why it is so important as a parent to really focus on just how you act, period, especially around your kids, because your kids are sponges that will take those moments, and it's easier for them to be impressed in those moments, to impress them as children, because because of the way that they are processing, the way that their prefrontal cortex isn't developed yet. It's easy for that to just have an impression and that be a part of their development. And so those moments, it's those traumatic moments, it's making a delay on their prefrontal cortex being fully function and fully developed. Usually is around 24 to 27, usually around 25 is where people land as far as like when your prefrontal cortex, your rational behavior, your decision-making skills, your executive functioning, all those things, not until 25. But if you deal with all these traumas, and when you deal with these traumatic experiences, it delays the process oftentimes. And so, especially when you're dealing with repression and repressive behavior, you're dealing with that repression from your experience, and you're not thinking rationally. That's the reason why people oftentimes engage in violent behavior, because there's a delay in their rational thinking. They're not thinking like, okay, well, logically, what is this going to lead to? Why am making this decision is going to lead to what? They don't think that way because there's a delay in their processing when it comes to their prefrontal cortex. And he's going to talk about neglect from a child. I'm gonna let it go through, but he's going to talk about child neglect here in a moment too. And so let's get to that.
Did you partake?
As a kid, no.
Okay.
No. It was just so my mom's ex-husband, he was a drug addict, and he lived at home with us. So there was a lot of that going on, and a lot of abuse taking place. And also, even before that, like, unfortunately, drugs and alcohol is something that runs in my family. And it's something that I've dealt with since I was very young. So dealing with the effects of that, right? Having guardians who, are essentially drug addicts. So dealing with a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't say like I mean, I started smoking as a teenager, the normal teenager stuff or whatever. But like a lot of the issues and stuff that I went through, I wasn't taught how to deal with. So essentially,
Is caregiving taking away time, money, and energy? You're giving your time.
Excuse these ads. We're live, pal.
Got into trouble in the street. Got into things with a bunch of people and stuff like that, because I did anything not to be home. My home life was just all over the place. So what happens? Poor kid from the street, you try to find love and family in the street, and that's what happened.
That's so true, man.
But
that's
then,
so true. That's so true. That stuff like that is what happens when people have it's a psychological concept called belongingness. And belongingness is basically oftentimes happens when someone is looking, for an identity. and they're looking for people or a group of people to get them to feel accepted by. That's the reason why people join cults. That's the reason why people join gangs. That's the reason why people join get into delinquent behavior as a child, because they're dealing with repression, and then they find other people who are doing the same thing as they are, and they're not thinking about the repercussions of it. What they are thinking about is, I feel accepted, I feel loved, I feel validated, and this is something that my house didn't give me. And that's very common when it comes to this type of behavior that is exhibited by people who have been neglected or have been abused or have observed abuse. And it's unfortunate, but it's definitely a common factor.
Yeah, it was whatever. But then after my dad passed away, that's because everything that I went through before then that I never dealt with, him passing away was like the soda bottle finally like burst.
Yep. And so what happens right there is that when someone deals with repressive thinking and repressive behavior, as a child, when they become an adult, something that's an impact or a similar trauma usually comes up, and it uncovers all of the things that you've repressed for so long, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I don't even know how to handle this. I don't know where this came from. What is going on here? And so it's like when you repress stuff, it's like you having like a field or a garden, and you repress so much bad stuff in this area of the garden, you forget that it's there, and something happens that you trip over something on the garden and you fall, and your face is now like pointed directly toward what you buried for so long that you forgot was there. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's maggots here. There's all kinds of nasty bugs here. I forgot all about that. I'm so used to looking at this garden I've created. That's okay. It's an okay garden. I'm working my butt off to tend to this garden, and everything's okay. And then boom, trip. And you're like, oh, wow. There's so much more about this garden I didn't know about that I need to do a major surveying to be sure that this doesn't happen again. And so it takes those moments to trip someone up for them to discover, unfortunately, stuff like this where he's going to talk about.
And you were super close at that point. You had an up and down relationship, but at that point you were like the best of friends.
Yeah. So my dad struggled with addiction while I was growing up. And as a kid, I didn't really understand addiction much, right? So my dad, he struggled. He was also blind, so he dealt with depression a lot. So I didn't, as a kid, you don't understand these things, right? So in my head, I'm like, why is this dude such an asshole sometimes, you know? But thankfully, as I got older and I started experiencing my own depression and anxiety and struggles with certain things, I started to understand him a little more. And then finally, when I was older, after I had my daughter, I finally built up the courage to sit him down and ask him and have a real serious heart-to-heart talk. And that was it. That was the moment that he wanted me to understand him. And
what did you ask him?
Just why, like I just wanted to understand him, and one of the main things that he told me that affected him deeply, not just his blindness, not just him not being able to make his dreams come true. He struggled a lot with, he felt like he couldn't be the father that he wanted to be. And that ate him up.
So, boom. All right. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about child neglect, and let's break down addiction. So, and then we'll talk about at the end what he's talking about. I'll play that clip too. But this is what I really want to break down here as far as addiction is concerned. So he basically he talks about his father deciding to escape with substance addiction because he felt like he wasn't the father that he could be to him. So he was neglected, and oftentimes one of the biggest causes of delinquent behavior is child neglect. And so don't neglect your kids, first of all. And be sure that even if you feel like you're failing as a parent, or even if you feel like you can't give your kids what they want or they're asking, and you're so afraid to say no, sometimes you got to say no in order to keep your sanity and for a better yes in the in longer run. And so don't go to illegal means to be sure to give your kids things that could wait. I mean, of course, food, shelter, and care, those are essentials. But man, like a lot of times when people are going through certain things in life, and I know, I mean, I was raised in a poor neighborhood. I was raised in a very impoverished upbringing when it comes to my neighborhood. Very, very high risk neighborhood I grew up in. So I understand the struggle. I understand the grind, but there's still an element of no matter what we have, no matter what we're going through right now, we still have each other. And you got to be sure that you have that dynamic when it comes to raising your kids. There's so many people when I talk to people like this when I have therapy, when I'm in my office, of just the neglect that comes with having just feeling so much bad of not being the provider that they want to be, not a provider period, but the provider that they want to be. And so it's like, man, people decide to escape and they get into the addictive behaviors. And so let's break that down as far as addiction is concerned. So addiction is defined as a complex process where problematic patterns of substance use or behaviors can interfere with a person's life, right? It is broadly defined as a condition that leads to compulsive engagement with stimuli despite negative consequences. There was a 2021 study that showed that 36 million people worldwide were experiencing substance abuse disorders, basically formerly known as drug addiction. They're still interchanged. Those terms are still interchangeable. At the more severe end of this substance use disorder is substance addiction. And so when someone regularly begins to use a substance, what happens is your brain starts to adjust to account for its regular presence, and that's called tolerance. So what happens is you have tolerance to, and tolerance usually, there's many different effects of tolerance, reasons why people tolerance. Oftentimes overuse, you become tolerant to it. Weight, age, there's different factors when it comes to tolerance. But when it comes to tolerance, though, what happens is your brain gives an unhealthy dopamine reaction to when you escape with opioids or drugs or alcohol, any type of substance. And what happens is that creates an unnatural dopamine expectation. And the dopamine that's created from the unhealthy, the unnatural dopamine boost or burst. There's a Yale medicine study that says that it unfortunately it requires 10 times the amount to match the natural expectation. So what happens there is it begins to it begins to change and alter the way the brain works, and it encourages dopamine. Is actually a very positive thing. It could be, it usually is, because what it sends a reward to your brain to to be excited and oftentimes repeat that same action in the future. So, if, say, for instance, healthy dopamine is going to work out, looking forward to a weekend, working for a promotion, things like that. When it has that dopamine kick, it gives someone the excitement to achieve the thing, and it also gives to someone that reward. It gives someone kind of like a template to anticipate that for a future. But what happens is you get the unhealthy ways of dopamine, and then it starts to trump, it starts to eclipse the healthy way. And now the unhealthy way of dopamine becomes more rewarding than the natural ways of dopamine. And now that that pushes aside the natural ways of dopamine in exchange for the unhealthy way of dopamine. And in order for a person to begin functioning properly because of this unhealthy dopamine overconsumption of substances, and it starts to retain the original, they're wanting that original dopamine kick from the unhealthy substances, and then now the tolerance is affecting the substance consumption, and now you're needing more to match that original dopamine kick. And because the tolerance comes, you're not matching it, so you're needing more to get that same kick, and that's when the dependent cycle comes. That's what happens when people get dependent. And so that's the unfortunate part about addiction. Another thing about addiction is that it is sometimes it's affected oftentimes in what's called the nucleus accumbens, and it's located in the part of the brain called the basal forebrain, and it's also sometimes the pleasure center of the brain, and it's best known for being a part of the reward system. It's a key player in the reward security of the brain, and releases dopamine to respond to positive experience and the anticipation of such experiences, like I said. So basically what happens is you try to escape, and this is what the situation happens with Santana. You try to escape from a very, very difficult time, a very traumatic time. And instead of, and this happens all the time, I talk to people with the same issues all the time, man. Instead of like tackling it by head on, as far as like being open to people, letting people know this stuff, being open and honest and not covering it up. He talked about how he was in AEW and no one knew for a while. And instead, he dealt with it and for a while, trying to escape from the grief that had to do with his father passing. And unfortunately, that escape led him to, again, the initial escape, the creation of unhealthy dopamine, the tolerance toward that dopamine kick, the overconsumption of acquiring more to be able to match that original high or to that the original dopamine kick, and because of that, you become dependent on it. And that's the reason why it's more than just addiction. It's really a brain condition of replacing unhealthy dopamine, to replacing healthy dopamine with unhealthy dopamine. So that's what happens when people get addiction, struggles with addiction. People start to become addicted to substances. Those are the things that happen, as far as that's the process that happens. And of course, people don't consume substances to become addicted to them. The 36 million people, a few years ago that was accounted for having a substance use disorder, they didn't. It's not like, hey, I'm going to wake up and been addicted to substances on my bingo card. That's the process that our mind works. That's how our mind works. It's the process. there's something that's going on. There's a relationship issues. There's work issues. There's parenting issues. There's issues with dealing with childhood trauma. There's PTSD issues. There's self-sabotaging issues as far as how you look, how you feel about yourself. There's pain issues. There's all different types of issues that causes someone to want to escape to substances to get their mind off of the intensity of what they're going through. And then, of course, again, they escape, they grow tolerance of it, they continue to consume to get that same type of escape, but now they have tolerance, and so they have to do more. And the more that they do to try to get that same level, the more dependent they become on the substance that they're using. So that's basically the psychology of why people engage in addictive behavior. All right, so before I get to the questions here, I'm going to play just a little bit more because I've looked at another Santana interview a few years ago, maybe a year or two ago. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember where it was. Maybe Chris Van Vliet, maybe. But man, there's something I like about this guy. Like there's just this, like he's a real dude, and there's just something I like about him and his story that I really think if TNA or WWE, even if he had a run in AEW, I mean his run was mostly tag. He did some singles, but his run was mostly tag. But I really think that, man, if they really sat down with him and really developed his story, I really think that this guy can be a top player because he's got such a good story, man, that people can really, really back into. I know that, of course, having a conversation with him as far as how much he's fine with or comfortable with allowing, but there's so much as far as just like his story and how you can have a heel that tries to do something as far as, I wouldn't go the Jake Roberts, Jerry Lawler route with just putting, the substance in his face. But as far as just like the backing and as far as just the story that he has, he's got something, man. Of course, that would have to require some conversations and require some creativity, but there's something there. There's something there when it comes to Santana that I like. He just seems like a real dude, man, that's open and honest about his story, that he has a really triumphant story about growing up, reconciling with his father passing, becoming, struggling with addiction as a result of trying to escape, having a situation where he was sobered up by his daughter wanting better from him, better of him. That sobered him up, caused him to, quit. And he said he's over 800 days sober now. Like that stuff like that, man, that's a story that people can back and get really, really into, leading into, a big pay-per-view, man. There's something I like about him as a real dude that I appreciate. So let's see. Let's go and play a little bit more, and then I'll get into the questions here.
And one thing that I'm glad that I told him was his presence was the greatest present that he could have ever given me. And from there it was amazing. That was like my big brother, my dad, like best friend. He was my biggest cheerleader. And
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual. So you only pay
Live, pal. We're live, pal. I think I'm gonna start recording these videos here. All right, here we go.
he'd be tripping at all this shit.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine you headlining at UBS. Is he on your mind a lot this week? Yeah, especially in New York. And I'm sorry for the emotion. Do you want Kleenex? You good? In I'm sorry, man. I know how much you're close to him, and you had a great post about being at MSG and the things that he said to you about taking you to see. I think this is what it was. What a great line this is. That day he pulled me aside and said, "It's crazy how all those years ago I brought you to see all your favorite wrestlers, and here I am today coming to see my favorite wrestler."
That shit was
good.
Yeah, no, I know, man. I know for sure. And so when it was just unexpected, right? New Year's Eve or so.
Yeah,
2020.
I woke up. I was in Jacksonville for AEW.
Yeah.
And woke up New Year's Day, got to the arena, and got the call.
Damn.
Yeah, he was in my house the week before Christmas Day. We were all together.
Just sudden?
It was. He had health issues that he didn't really talk about, or that nobody really knew.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was a stubborn human being, to put it lightly. His thing was he didn't want to be a burden on anyone, so he kept a lot of things to himself.
Okay.
And you know,
and I've talked about that before too, man. Just gotta be open and honest, man. There's so many people who love that at least can love you through it. That's a lot of times people selfishly don't give people the opportunity to do that stuff. And you gotta do that, man. You gotta give the opportunity for people to love you through it. And I used to be one of those stubborn people that just wouldn't tell anybody nothing, and just you gotta let people love you through certain things that you're going through, man.
Things caught up to him, and
so is that when you start to self-medicate?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that was because again, like everything that I went through in the past, it came to the surface, and losing him, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then after that, like with things at work and things at home, and it was just a whirlwind of multiple things, you know.
How long before you go to rehab? Like how long does this?
Oh man, he died in 2020. I went to rehab in 23.
Oh wow! So it was 3 years like this.
3 years.
What kind of a person are you in those 3 years?
I'm not the person that I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I as an addict, you know, when we're in active addiction, we're trying to fill a hole, you know, and like I never did drugs and alcohol to have fun. Like it wasn't fun at all. I did it because I didn't want to feel anything, you know.
And that's where the escapism come from. And that's spot on to what I was talking about as far as the escapism. It's hard for people to understand what he said there when he said he didn't do it for fun. You know, he did it to fill a void. And it makes perfect sense for me from a clinical perspective that he was trying to fill a void. His father passed. He's trying to get through it. He's trying to process it without processing it. So he's escaping from it. It's his unhealthy way of processing. It's not fun. This isn't fun. This isn't something I'm excited to do. I've gotten to the point where I'm dependent on the substance that caused the initial escape. So now there's this dependency cycle of using that unhealthy dopamine. Like I said, is 10 times more potent oftentimes than natural dopamine when it comes to these substances. And so it becomes a cycle of addiction. It becomes a cycle of wanting to continue to consume whatever that unhealthy dopamine is.
And yeah, like just being who I am today, And looking back at that person, I feel bad for that person. But I ultimately needed to be that person.
Why?
To get to where I am today.
Mm.
And to truly appreciate who I am today. I always say, gutter to glory. You have to walk through the fire sometimes. And that was like, I needed rock bottom. Like thinking about it now and being where I am today, like, because ultimately that was the foundation that I started to build upon. You know,
What was rock bottom?
Rock bottom was it was getting that letter from my daughter.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Where she said she just wants her dad to stop. Did you know that? Did you know that she was feeling this way, or that did you even know that she knew that something was wrong? No.
No.
Wow.
I you know, there was a lot of signs because, you know, I've said this before. I wouldn't come home for days, you know. And that's just not like me. I was always very present and always took her to school in the morning, always picked her up, always, you know. And once that started happening, she was like, "Whoa, you know, what the hell is going on?" And but also at the same time, it's like, you know, when you're an addict, you're selfish. You're not thinking about who you're hurting outside, right? You just think you're hurting yourself. And that was like a huge eye opener, you know, getting that letter from her. And then my grandmother wrote me a letter that she sent me. And yeah, that was my rock bottom. That was like the same thing that I went through as a kid. I was on the path of giving that to my daughter, and I promised and I swore that I would never do that. And the fact that like I was doing that, it tore me up, you know.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know, when people are struggling with addiction, man. The way that people process when they're going through addiction is just everything is oftentimes a blur. You're wanting to, and that's what happens when that's why escapism is a real thing. Psychologically, it's called escapism. You're trying to escape from something you're going through, from a trauma or a current situation that's seems like it's insurmountable. Those are the things you're dealing with as a addict or someone who's becoming addicted, and everything else is a blur. The ability to rationally think, it's not there. I mean, like your nucleus, your the space in the midbrain, that nucleus IQ, the nucleus accumbens that's in your basal forebrain area, and the issue that people deal with is that it's so hard to tell people. It's so hard to think that people actually can understand what you're going through. You're isolated now. You feel like you're an island by yourself. You're going through depression. It's hard to tell people this situation or the situation going through because you're a pro wrestler or you're a manager at a job or you're a pastor. You know what I mean? Like you're dealing with those things as a way of handling trauma, but then you don't feel like society's going to back up the realness of you dealing with this, and so you don't tell anybody. And so then, unfortunately, as a result, it starts to affect your household. It starts to affect your work. It starts to affect your overall productivity. And yes, it may seem selfish, but at the same time, again, that's oftentimes not the intent, man. It's not the intent. It's you start to go into this dark cycle of addiction because of the dependency.
She is your beautiful daughter. I love the post that you had about the time that you spent in LA with her, the daddy-daughter trip, about all the things that you guys did together. I have a daughter myself, so much respect to you. How long were you in rehab for?
30 days.
How did you explain that to her?
That's not how he explained it to her. These daggone ads is a joke. All right, there we go.
That was also one of the hardest days of my life.
Yeah.
Because I sat her down and her mom and I were like, because like we've always made it a point to make her feel a part of whatever conversation we were having, you know. And I've always spoken to her like a human being, not like a child, you know. And you know, I sat her down and I told her, Daddy is sick, and I have to go away to see some doctors that are gonna make Daddy better. And I promise you that when Daddy comes back, he's gonna be better. And her mom told me that when I left, her biggest concern was, am I going to have food? Am I going to have a bed to sleep in?
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you able to interact with her during that time?
I called her one time.
Okay.
But I didn't. They allowed visits after when you're halfway through.
Okay.
But I could not allow them to see me there.
Right.
You know, so I just needed to focus on myself, get myself better, and yeah.
Do you decide after the 30 days to leave, or do they say that?
No, like it was a 30-day program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you been sober since then?
881 days.
Damn.
Ariel Juani says, D, I say praise God.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yes, praise God to that. Praise God. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good, man. And I pray for 800 more and 800 more and 800 more and 800 more when it comes to Santana, man. I'm rooting for this guy, man. He's got a story. He's not just a daggone wrestler, man. He's got something there, man. He's got a history of being triumphant, and he's got an ability to really use his story for God's glory. And he also has an ability to really use his story in a positive way, because stuff like that, man, when it comes to pro wrestling, that's the type of stuff, man, that I'm interested in. That's the type of stuff that gets me excited to want to know more about this guy. And it gets me excited to root for him and to get behind him in this in these difficult situations. And so, man, I wish the best for this guy. I wish the best for Mike Santana. And it's so good to hear that it's been over 800 days since he's been substance free, man. And prayers to you, Mike Santana. Congratulations on main eventing some anniversary. And hey, man, maybe come Bound for Glory. It'll be you and Trick Williams for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. And man, with this momentum that you're having right now, perhaps in 3 months' time, man, you'll get your first major World Heavyweight Championship. So we're rooting for you. And what a wonderful story, and what a wonderful interview. And thank you for your transparency to be able to share that. And I pray that you understand how difficult and how dangerous it could be to use substances for those who are listening. As far as a classroom perspective, I pray that you understand how dangerous it is and can be for you to start escaping from issues and problems with substances. It's just you just don't start it, man. It's one of those things that when you start, again, tolerance leading to dependence, leading to the cycle of addiction. Again, you don't wake up. It's not on your bingo card for the day and say, "Hey, I'm just going to be addicted to a substance." That's not on people's bingo card. But It happens to nearly 40 million Americans worldwide. Over 40 million, over 40 million people worldwide, Americans included, but from a worldwide perspective. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people that are dealing with substance abuse and substance use disorder. And man, there's interventions out there. Do it. Don't feel like you're on an island by yourself. Don't feel like you have to take it on the chin, by yourself. Again, you got to allow people to love you through it. You got to allow people to love you through it, man. Because a lot of times that's what it's going to take, along with, the grace of God and the power of God. You got to allow people to love you through it. All right. That's class 2 today. That is the psychology of addiction. And let's get into these questions. Good one. All right, let's get it going. Let's get it going. All right, let's get through these questions for today. I'd make a dog a bowl holder today. All right. People's Wrestling Channel. Santana's having a match next week on NXT. Santino is, okay. James, I watched the segment between Taker and Trick Williams on NXT. Nothing special. Taker just gave Trick a choke slam, but it was hinted by Taker that they could have a match, but we'll see. Nah, man, we ain't having no match. No. Thoughts on Ozzy Osbourne passing away today? I still can't believe it. May he rest in peace. 76 years old, I believe, man. Legendary in the rock culture. And lived to be 76. All right. Let's see. Doesn't WWE hire legends as a manager or GM? Imagine the ratings Raw would get if Austin was GM or Taker managed wide 6. I would say jury duty, but they're too lame for Taker to manage. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the thing, James. It's like a lot of these wrestlers aren't stars. Their star power isn't strong enough to be able to eclipse the veteran status, the popularity that the veteran has. So I think if they try to manage them, they'll just eclipse them. They'll eclipse the people they're managing, and it won't be as productive as it should be. All right, let's get through a few of these questions let's see. That's a good question. No, I think Austin needs that win more. I still think Kane should have won that. I still think King should have won that Royal Rumble. Robert, I watched your 4-man show with Dutch, Vince, and Bill. TKO ruined WWE. I told a friend it won't be long till TKO starts using UFC fighters on TV at times, taking wrestlers' spots. Hey, man, anything's possible when it comes to WWE and TKO. What's up, Rollin? What's up, Doc? We're in the building. I wonder if this topic is regarding the addiction to the entertainment of professional wrestling. Now, that's another for sure. That's another topic to talk about, man. Send me a clip. Shoot me a clip on DM, Rollin, of some fan having addictive behavior, and I'll talk about pro wrestling fandom addiction. Robert, nice Scooby-Doo shirt. They can probably do better booking than people at WWE. Yes, indeed. You got Velma. Who else is on here? You got the whole gang on here. I don't see Freddie. Here's Freddie. Thelma, Daphne, and then Shaggy and Scoob. Scoob! You got Scoob. Let's see. Rollin, let's see. Since we get dopamine from working out, then why do so many people hate working out? Vince Russo used to tell you all the time that he hates working out. Why is America so obese? Because it's a discipline. That working out is a discipline. I don't really enjoy working out that much either. Mostly because of my back pain, because I have intense back pain. So when you have like interfering factors that come in between you and working out, it's less enjoyment. Like the enjoyment is much less when there's interfering factors. For me, it's my back. I work out 5 to 6 days a week, but my back is in pain like immensely. So I bust my butt, I lift, I grind in the gym, but I'm always pushing through my back, and I'm usually tired as all get out because I work out as a way to dump my therapy for today. So, yeah. So there's interferences. I mean, Vince talked about he hated working out because it was something that he wasn't. It was a new thing in the 60s as far as the intensity of the reason why he had to work out. We had he was telling me some things privately, and so he didn't really like it because it wasn't a dopamine routine. It wasn't a rewarding thing for him in the first place. Now, when people start to see results, then they start to become more excited to work out. Initially, there's no reward. You just know that you have to do it. And there's so many factors that are coming in between the dopamine being a reward. It's not going to work out is not a quick fix like an opioid, like a drug, like a substance. That's the reason why the unnatural and unhealthy dopamine, that's the reason why it has such a more of an immediate potency, because it's unhealthy, it's unnatural, and it oftentimes tends to give you more of a quicker hit than, working out. You don't work out and see your results in one day, right? You can start consuming alcohol and get a buzz right there. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like cutting corners to get worse results at the end. You know what I mean? So that's basically why. And so when it comes to obesity, the pleasure, similar to that same pleasure center, the nucleus accumbens, that pleasure center, when you're eating food, the pleasure that comes with food has also more of an immediate impact than the results that come from working out. Now, essentially, when it comes to like epinephrine, which is adrenaline, and all the dopamine that's firing during working out is good, is therapeutic. But at the same time, when it comes to like rewards, you're not really seeing rewards like that. But when you're escaping from the way that you're feeling and you're eating food, there's this sensation that you're getting from the food, and it has a more immediate sense of escape than looking forward to a vacation, to working for the weekend because there's a concert that you want to go to more than getting the raise at your annual review next month. All those things are healthy ways to fire dopamine, but they're not as but they require patience, which is also a great skill to have. Elvis had to make mom come to the ER. She was unresponsive, and her O2 was 35. Wow, she's alert now. The doctor admitted mom to the hospital. She has an EEG test going. Prayers, keep us posted. Prayers to your mother, Elvis. Sorry to hear that. Robert, his legit beef with his former tag team partner Ortiz, you think his depression and work schedule played role in them two splitting? I just mean like so much on his plate, not knowing. That's as far as how to deal with everything at once played a role. was split with Ortiz. Yeah. I don't know what caused. I mean, there were some conversations. There was some previous interview that he had. He was talking about that. I don't remember exactly what the split of Ortiz is. I think it was just creative differences and one wanting more, one being okay with where he's at. I think that's from what I remember. I think that was it. So as far as just anything else privately, I'm not sure. My good friend is in the building. Evan was in the building. What's up, my man? Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm here for you for sure. Dozen of prayers to Santana for hundreds more days, staying sober, praying for pulling for. Absolutely. Rollin, I want to enjoy working out, but I hate it too. I do have injuries that never healed from my youth. Okay, I'll DM a pic of a fan who appears to be addicted to pro wrestling. Send me a video. I want to go through a video. I want to break this darn thing down, man. Break it down. Send me a video of some either addictive wrestling fan or an addictive indie wrestling compilation. Like let's do it, man. I want to definitely do that. I want to integrate more videos on the show. I like these interaction when it comes to videos and the reaction videos that comes with it. So I'm a big fan of that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Man, that was fun. These things are fun, y'all. I always enjoy hanging out with y'all. Always have a great time, man. I hope that you guys learned tonight with the psychology of addiction. And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Had a bunch of comments on my video last week, and that boosts the algorithms of it. Share, man. It takes you no time, but maybe a second or two to share the video. If you like it, I mean, again, consistently, no one's dropping off. It increased throughout the whole show. Same thing every week. But don't get drop-offs, and that's a blessing. And I thank you so much for that. For sure. Amen. Smash the like button on the way out. So like. That just boosts the algorithms. That helps me get this to more people and get this Pancakes and Power Slams exposed to more people and let people know, man, that, hey, man, I'm a PhD in psychology. So I'm a trained expert in this stuff. And I'm also a college professor. I teach people about psychology. I love talking about psychology. It's most of my work life is about psychology. Even like just about all of it. I mean, I'm a therapist by day. I'm a college professor by day and night about psychology. And I'm also a podcaster, which talks about my forte. I bring psychology into pro wrestling podcasts, even with the other podcasts that I have throughout the week. I bring my psychological expertise within my punditry, within my analysis. And so psychology is what my week goes, what my days go. And so I love talking about it. I love bringing you in with the two. So be sure to please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's be honest, man. This is not only a P&P moment. This is a group intervention moment, man. I want to help y'all, and I want us to help each other. So let's be honest with each other. Go ahead, and your homework for today, this week, or tonight, or the next night or two, or within this week before next show, is let's be honest, man. If there's a substance abuse addiction, or if there's a substance use or substance abuse or a substance addiction that you've went through, that you've gone through and successfully, let us know. If there's a substance addiction that you're going through and you're struggling with, or there's a little bit of time that you haven't done it, but there's still temptations, let's be honest with each other. Let's do it. Let's do it. Go ahead and put that in the comments, and I will be praying for you. I will look at the comments, and I will be praying for you as I read them. I'm serious about that. Let's help each other. We need each other. Again, Let's love each other through it. All right. With that being said, hop on the Patreon. And until next week, it's patreon.com/pancakes and power slams. We're going to hang out there for a little bit. Until next week, enjoy your week wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night, everybody. So long.